Alright, everyone. Hello, I just realized that my model is halfway cut off. Hang on, I gotta do a little stretch. There we go, much better. Hello, everybody, welcome to the stream. Welcome. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I know I am. As you can see, I redid my bedroom. I got a little bored and decided to scrub off the dry erase marker from the walls and started painting it. In all seriousness, I just wanted to add more decoration to my room, so it looks like I've lived here for 20 years of my life, yeah. Anyways, we're gonna be doing a 2-for-1 video review. The first one will be by our lovely friend Mujin, about an artist who ended her career by one community note, and another one by Royalty is here, talking about the burnt peanut problem. I don't know what that is, but so I'm actually quite interested in that. Alright, let's begin, shall we? And I forgot to set the thing. Video, I think? Okay, there we go. Let me just do this. And then we do that. There we go. And I'm gonna stretch it out a little. There we go. I just realized I am way too close. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that, R. Anyways, focus. We're gonna be enjoying this video. So, sit back, relax, get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink. I left my drink over here. And, yeah. Also, for anyone who's knowing, tomorrow, if you plan on going to Anime Las Vegas, I will be there from 11:30 to 12, or not from 11:30 to, from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. I'll try to stream it tomorrow. I just need to get some information if it's okay to stream there, because I know that they have very strict rules about streaming. But yeah. Anyways, let's begin, shall we?
Our species to overcome our biggest challenges through creativity and resourcefulness. It's what allowed our human ingenuity is what allowed our species to overcome our biggest challenges through creativity and resourcefulness. It's what allowed our very distant ancestors to make the discovery of fire, and it's what most recently gave us access to the forbidden skies, allowing us to fly. And while throughout history there are many different examples of these incredible discoveries, it is in my humble opinion that our best discovery yet is probably pastries. That's right, whether that be a pain au chocolat, croissant, beignet, éclair, you name it, there are very few things that can compare.
Donuts.
And while
I love
France
donuts,
is easily
man.
the
Now
best
I'm
place
hungry.
in the world
Now
to
I
get
want a
any type of
donut,
pastry,
but
its
I'm trying to
residents,
cut back
more
on my
specifically
sugar.
the last 2 years, would have to come face to face with this industry's biggest, darkest secret: industrial pastries, more notably the croissant. Now look, this was a big deal. When you're going to a bakery, the expectation is that you'd be receiving something made in-house in the morning, fresh, delivered right into your hands. These bakeries,
The whole bakery. I like bakeries.
Fresh, without giving any indication or disclaimer that they're pre-frozen, essentially scamming you. I mean, this was scandalous. It even led to the creation of a new label that certifies that, hey, this bakery actually does everything by hand. We don't use frozen products. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't take a genius to understand this problem. Why would I pay the same exact price, sometimes even more, for something that is pre-frozen when I could just use that same money to buy something made fresh in the morning? For the consumer, this didn't make any...
So, oddly enough, as someone who loves to eat a lot of sweets, and I hate to admit that, I know that my mom, she used to work at a bakery, and she says, you know, people always prefer to come to our bakery because our stuff is more fresh than stuff at what's it called, Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm like, well, I honestly prefer Krispy Kreme, because you actually can see them making the donuts right in front of you, from the molding the dough to putting it on the conveyor to have them cook, to the to watching them put the frosting on and everything. I'll always be a person who's I don't mind if it's a frozen, but honestly I prefer stuff that's made directly in the store, if that makes any sense.
Damn sense. That's simple to understand, right? Well, apparently, to some artists these days, this concept cannot get through their thick skulls for some reason. And when I say artists, I'm talking specifically about Gami, an artist that started her activity 6 years ago and was well known in the VTuber community, all while being someone who very staunchly and publicly constantly
Krispy Kreme #1. Heck yeah, I love Krispy Kreme. Now I want donuts. Gosh, dang it.
In fact, she would go even further and would draw an entire meme saying, maybe I make ugly drawings, but at least I don't use AI. And guess what? This post would go absolutely viral, but not because of the meme itself. It would go viral because of the very humiliating community note that would be attached to it, destroying any ounce of her reputation in one day. And that's without...
Now, I'll be honest, as an artist, I'm about to destroy my whole career just saying this. As an artist, a real artist, you know, I've shown my drawings, I've shown speed paints on my TikToks, I've done all the fun stuff about being an artist. I sometimes will use AI for inspiration. Now, I know it's not a good thing. I'm trying to curb that idea, and I've actually been curbing it and learning like basic stuff. I just like to use it as kind of like a guide. Oddly enough, for anyone who knows, switching to chat for a second, my background. So originally, if any of you seen like my older streams would have known, I talked a bit about this. I actually bought this background. Turns out I spent money on an AI background. Oops. And I just realized that I am covering half my chat. There we go. I had accidentally bought an AI background. It was completely by accident. I got so pissed, I chewed out the person who sold me it, saying, "You just sold me something that was AI generated. I could have just gotten it for free." So I chewed them out, and then I took that AI background and drew it and made it my own. Looking for inspiration from something without soul. Mainly, so look, like I said, I'm trying to curb that, and I've been curbing that. I no longer use AI for references, but I do. I think the reason I did it was because I liked the and this is like back in 2020 when generative stuff was kind of more abstract, like kind of like not like extremely good, like it was kind of like that abstract look that I kind of found like interesting. I was like, oh, I like that, I'll use that as references for my work. But as AI has gotten better, I stopped because I was like, I'm looking for something, true to form. Anyways, continuing.
Google Docs that were written about her. Now look, I've made a lot of videos about people getting community noted on Twitter, okay? But this right here might be the most merciless one yet. This is why I figured...
And just to add, by the way, the only sin I have now committed as an artist is tracing over bodies for basic poses and dynamics, because I cannot draw basic anatomy for shit!
We had to talk about it. Before we step into this, just know that you can use the code Mujin for 10% off anything on the GamersFest website. And now, without further ado, let's do this. Alright, so let's get one thing straight. Tracing has been a problem in the art community for many years, even before ChatGPT and other AI tools came out. The art community consensus about tracing was that it was okay if you were trying to learn, but immoral if you were trying to make it seem like it was your own work. And we didn't really need AI for that to be a problem. In fact, one could go back as recently as November 9th, 2025, when Hisashi Iguchi, one of the most well-renowned artists in Japan, would be exposed as having traced for, well, his entire fucking career. This guy's drawings were top of the game. You'd find them in exhibitions, you'd have companies hiring him to make posters out of them, and yet it turned out that the drawing he had made for the Chuline Culture Festival in 2025 was nothing more than him taking the picture of a woman on social media and just tracing over it. Quickly afterwards, people would start analyzing his past work, and it would turn out to not be an isolated incident. The guy has been doing this for his entire career, taking pictures all over the internet or by photographers and just claiming that it was something that came from his own head. This is very significant because even before the widespread use of AI, I could have very easily taken any of these images that he had taken, put them through some drawing filter, and made it seem like I drew it myself, okay? The inherent problem with tracing, or hell, you can call it just cheating, is...
So, for me, I've always seen it as, like... So whenever I mention that I do trace work, what I mean is, I'll look at like a basic idea of like the body. Like I'll have a picture of the body that I want, and then I would just like draw the guidelines of the body. Like draw how the legs would look, draw how the arms would look, draw all the things to the head. So I wouldn't really consider it tracing because I'm putting a little bit of effort in. Thank you for the pat. I realized I knew I was forgetting to open something. Hold on. I forgot to open this. If it decides to open. Man, I installed something so I could multi-stream on 2 separate platforms, and okay, I'm gonna redo that. Hold on, let me see. Is it working? There we go. Now it is. There we go. But like I was saying, as an artist, this is obviously hand traced, like from like not from the clothes to the body. I usually just trace like I just trace like basic guidelines of the body pose that I want.
That it's very easily detectable if it's done by an amateur, but very hard to prove if it's done by someone who actually knows how to draw. This has always been the case. And while we could, to a certain extent, cross-reference images that were traced before AI, that is no longer the case, because just about anyone can just generate any image they want, and it will be a unique image, one that doesn't exist anywhere else. So even if someone does trace, you can't prove it by cross-referencing their illustration to the original image. You have to prove it in other ways, and that typically requires a lot of effort, most notably, well, a Google Doc. This is where Gami comes in, an artist that has been active for the last 6 years and also happens to stream as a VTuber. She grew her following like, well, most artists would, drawing well-known VTubers and content creators, as well as participating in viral art trends. This would lead her to get followed by many of these VTubers that she drew, okay, some of them very big. And as an artist, if you get followed by some of these top guys, well, you get legitimized. People look at you and think, oh, well, if this person follows them, then they must be an actual real artist that does work on time, right?
Maybe I should draw some VTuber fan art. I like drawing, and I need to draw more.
Mujin comes in, a website that gained huge prominence within the VTuber community, but now pretty much exists for just about anyone. What makes it unique is that it doesn't support any sort of AI usage, doesn't sell user data, and doesn't display ads. It also happens to be very exclusive. In order to create an account to sell things on the platform, you need a code. That referral code can only be acquired in one of 6 different ways, but getting a code is only the first.
Shameless self-promotion. Yes, I'm on Voop chat. Immediate. Yeah, I'm on VGen. Feel free to commission me. I do commissions for pretty decent cheap prices. Okay, anyways, jokes aside, no, I'm not. I just did it for a joke. You do not have to commission me. You guys watching is good enough for me. I was just making a joke because I managed to get in mainly because a friend of mine is, never mind, I'm never gonna buy because I'm poor. Hey, that's fine. You watching me is good enough. I do this for fun as a hobby because, hey, I like streaming and I like streaming when my anxiety doesn't want to kill me first. When my anxiety doesn't want to torment me, forgive me. I like streaming, but hey, yeah. Anyways, time to kill a play card. Good luck.
Hurdle. After you actually create your account, you have to go through multiple criteria in order to get verified by an actual, real human being that will make sure that you are legit. And guess who had an account on VGen? Gami. She'd be charging up to $60 for a basic colored sketch, $30 for a Twitch emote, and $150 for a square-sized image meant to be used as a profile.
You know, I can understand, like, there's one thing I always see is, and I'm honestly, if you could see by my, again, if we, oh, whoops, let me, whoops, I am going too far back. If I go to my VGen, I even feel like I sometimes oversell myself a bit. And I think some artists tend to oversell and some tend to undersell. Honestly, I need to work on my pricing because my pricing is like crap. I'm still learning VGen, even though I've had it for like a year. I'm still trying to figure that out. Anyways.
For a square-sized image meant to be used as a profile picture on social media. These prices just so happen to be industry standard, okay? There's nothing crazy about them. Some people charge less, some people charge more. But when you pay $150 for a profile picture, you're expecting to, get something made by a human being. That was what people thought they were getting. In fact, on January 28th, 2026, Gami would make sure to push this idea to her audience and anyone who might see this post on Twitter. She'd post this very simple meme saying, maybe I make ugly drawings, but at least I don't use AI. One of the replies to her post would be some really terrible AI slop. She'd make sure to reply to it with vomiting emojis. And here's the deal, right? This post for like almost more than 20 days
for the head pat.
would have no community note. Gami would go on to continue posting art and living her life. She could have never expected that on February 18th, 2026, the user Ruru would quote tweet that meme she made about how she didn't use AI and would say, yeah, about that. Gami has been using AI in her workflow and selling commissions. Read. Linking a Google Doc. It will be around 16 pages long, and I have to say, okay, look, I love these artist dramas because this Google Doc is of course very well formatted, as you would expect. It would start off with, disclaimer, do not send hate to Gami. This is merely for informing potential supporters and commissioners of the dishonesty about her workflow, including generative AI. This document and Gami's accounts contain suggestive/NSFW content. Great, I'm gonna have a lot of fun censoring this video. So look, this document mentions something very important in the beginning. The reason why this is such a big deal is because this person, Gami, was charging money while using AI. This is very dishonest. When you're paying an artist money, you're hiring them for their talent, not for what some generative machine can make out of like a million convoluted drawings that it stole off the internet.
Also, I've noticed that people who tend to use AI, like I noticed this with a lot of like different people, or a lot of different things that have like used AI, like Coke with their ads and stuff. Like people, whenever you use AI, it's obvious that the company is just not going to be, it is not good. It's probably crap. And they're using AI to prove it. And they're thinking, oh, the AI will make it look good. Nah, it just proves that you're either a cheapskate or your company is just crap.
Next part here would be introduction. First things first, please read knowing Gami herself has admitted to using AI in her workflow. Back in December 30th, 2024, someone would DM her, Gami, are you using AI as reference for your art? To which she would reply, I do sometimes, yes, but I draw them again with my own two hands, lol. I don't like taking them as literal references. Okay, cool, I guess we're done. I mean, why is there 17 pages here? This is it. I mean, what else do you want? Well, I guess we'll find out. The document continues, now with this in mind, I will show you why I think she wasn't only using references here and there, but one-to-one referencing or possibly tracing for a lot of her viral artworks. And also that she sells commissions using AI without disclosing it to this day. I will document...
Cough, cough, NVIDIA. Who? Who's NVIDIA?
her dated posts and artworks, as well as conversations with her. This is where we get to the next section, titled Documentation. Gami joined my Discord server around the start of October 2025. Shortly after, some of my members messaged me privately to warn me about her AI usage and her past drama, since I don't allow Gen AI in my server. I didn't want to assume things, so I took a good look at Gami's artworks and then decided it was best to ask her directly than to jump to conclusions. The messages are in Turkish, but you will have translations. Translations are in purple. Some parts are blurred due to privacy of third parties and to not bring back past drama that has already been settled. Alright, so here we can see Ruru asking in Turkish, 3 things were brought up to me, and the people who brought them up will remain anonymous to avoid creating any drama. I think they mentioned these issues because they became worried when they saw that you joined my server and they felt the need to warn me. So the first 2 issues are blurred, I guess they have nothing to do with this drama, and then the third one is, the last issue is the claim that you are tracing using AI. Of course, there's no proof of that, and proving it is almost impossible these days. It's because both Clip Studio and Procreate have a feature to hide the reference layer when speed painting. I looked at your drawings a bit, even though we follow each other.
Oh, that's a fun one. Look up at NVIDIA DLSS5 later.
Okay. I can show you the reasons for my suspicions through the drawings, and we can discuss it in more detail. This is when Gami would reply with, the AI tracing issue also arose because I was heavily referencing. I'm constantly sharing how I draw in the process anyway. I stopped referencing heavily quite a while ago. The document would continue. Since she claimed she stopped heavily referencing quite a while ago, I showed her some of her recent illustrations that I found suspicious. So in this drawing, we can see some sort of a puppy girl laying down on the bed, and the feet look very oddly suspicious, as if made by AI. Ruru also felt the need to mention that even to this day, this drawing
what did I do?
The banner of her Patreon, right? And I mean, seriously, like, these feet look very AI, like very suspicious.
Is something wrong? Because they just look like normal. Maybe because I'm blind, I don't know.
Say she deleted this art post after this conversation, but still uses it as her banner on Patreon. I raised my concerns about how her anatomy knowledge and coloring skills didn't match. Some parts, like feet and hands, are drawn messily despite the rest having pretty good anatomy. This is common with AI tracers/users. Her art skills also suddenly spiked after some point. This led me to believe these art pieces weren't only referenced, but one-to-one or traced. So on the left, we can see a drawing made by Gami on September 2024. And yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's decent. It's nothing like incredible, right? It's not something that will belong in a gallery anytime soon, but it is what it is. However, 3 months later, on December 2024, she would make a fan art of Yaklesh, a well-known artist and VTuber. And here we can truly see the incredible difference. This is progress that usually takes place over years. And there she was, just, making it look easy, as if she just learned everything in 3 months. We also see another example of a drawing that looks really good, but the fingers are just weird. Something that AI infamously does all the damn time. The document then continues. Artists will probably understand that the drawing above, now deleted, has pretty good anatomy.
I just yelled at my dog to be quiet and busted my ooh. I'm sorry to hear.
Overall, yet the same level of skill doesn't apply to the hand. This issue is common in her drawings. She also came to my server a couple times to share her screen while drawing to prove herself, but she never sketched something from scratch. It was always something that was already drawn and halfway colored. She then sent me a speed paint as proof, but the speed paint didn't have a sketch and she drew things mostly without guidelines. For example, drawing the lines for the legs without a guide and other similar things. It was not very convincing, as you can just hide the reference layer and pretend like you drew it. So that's another thing with tracers, right? The idea that they just draw things out of thin air, when even some of the best artists in the world will still use reference layers. They don't immediately just draw a face and eyes like it's nothing. No, they'll actually take the time to reference where everything will be and then do that. I then showed her art on the right. God damn, I gotta censor that. Saying drawing something like this requires a lot of skill, and people who draw in color like she did on the left cannot draw like the right picture too at the same time. These two drawings are a few months apart despite there being a huge skill gap. So again, the same thing we saw in 2024, we're seeing again in 2025. In August, she would draw something that clearly has bad anatomy, right, if we're talking about the elbow and the hand, as well as amateur-like coloring compared to the one on her right, which was posted just a few months later and looks insane. This is what you get after like drawing for 10 years, man. It's wild. And it's a shame that you can't really fully see it. Sorry, it's YouTube, not me.
Hurricane sneeze, excuse
me. She knows how to draw, arguing she has traditional art she can show. And here we can see yet another conversation in Turkish between Ruru and Gami taking place in October 2025, after Gami had posted that very interesting drawing that I had to censor. Ruru would say, I repeat, this isn't about not being able to draw. That's why it's harder to distinguish when artists use it. But for example, when we go back in your gallery, there aren't any anatomy drawings like this or close to it. It's as if you suddenly drew it so well. Especially if you go back to before the year AI became widespread, the drawings look quite different. It might be one of the drawings you heavily referenced, as you said. It might be referenced from AI. To which Gami would say, yes, I'm referencing AI. The document would continue. Here she admits to referencing AI for her work again. She doesn't disclose this on her VGen or any of her socials. It's well known that using AI in any way isn't...
Now, as an artist and as a VTuber who has referenced AI, and this was way back when I was under a different VTuber persona altogether, I think... oh man, because a part of me thinks, AI shouldn't be used as a replacement as much as it should be used as a tool for artists. Like, learning, I don't know, basic... Never mind. I mean, there's a lot of references. What am I kidding? There's reference videos, or there's references photos. You can find some on Pinterest that are not AI, because I've noticed that Pinterest has a lot of AI art on there nowadays, which pisses me the fuck off. And there's also a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. There's a lot of videos to show you how to draw and basic tutorials on how to draw like stuff, and there's hell, you can even go to like download Miku Miku Dance, get a model, like a blank model, pose it how you want, and then trace it over it for reference. But I wouldn't know. I've been drawing for like about 10, 15 years, I think. And I'm still in the learning curve of art.
VGen, she also sells commissions there, meaning she has been and still is selling AI-assisted artwork without disclosing it. So far, she had admitted to using AI for references. I asked to see the references she used to check for tracing. Here we can see Ruru saying, "Can I see the reference used for this image?" Gami would reply with, "I don't save the photos, Ruru, sad face." To which Ruru would say, "Using a one-to-one reference isn't good either because it's not much different from tracing." To which Gami would say, "I realized that too. After that, I completely removed that incident," which is referencing, "from my life. Now I just pose in my head and use 3D models." Ruru would then say, "It looks like you're regretting using heavy references." Gami would say, "No, seriously, being called AI really hurt my pride." Ruru says, "If you take a one-to-one reference from AI, it's perfectly normal for people to say that it looks like AI because it becomes AI indirectly." That's when Gami would say, "I never thought of it that way because I drew it myself, but you're right." The document would continue and say she didn't have any references to show, and here she says she thought because she redrew the AI pictures, it still meant it was her own art. Despite all that, it looked like she regretted using AI in her workflow. But even after saying she stopped and being associated with AI hurt her pride, she still had drawings that were AI assisted posted on her socials like Twitter, VGen, and Patreon, of course undisclosed. I felt like she wasn't being honest. This is where we see their Discord conversation continuing, with Ruru asking, "But if this situation upsets you and bothers you so much, why are these drawings still on your page? People who see them can just dismiss them as AI." Gami would reply to this saying, "I don't usually have a habit of deleting posts. Sad face. I generally post them and then forget they exist. But you're right, it would be good if I deleted them." This is when Ruru would link one of her arts and say, "And for example, even though you said you stopped taking heavy references, a post of yours from May 2025. The no-name fan art looks like it's referenced. Unless you decided to stop using AI 2 to 3 months ago or so, this post makes your claim about you quitting using AI not convincing, because you posted the AI referenced art for personal promotion." Gami would reply and say, "I talked to No Name about the situation too. I explained myself. I also apologized if it looked that way." Ruru would specify in the document in parentheses, she did not apologize, confirmed with No Name. Gami would then say, "And yes, I quit about 2 months ago," to which Ruru in the document in parentheses would say, "which means she says she quit using AI in August 2025. Gami would end this conversation by saying, "I understand how it looks. I'll remove the images I heavily referenced. I don't want to look like an artist who uses AI." The document continues and says she then went to her profile and deleted some of her artwork on her Twitter, but she did not delete any from her VGen and Patreon, which should be prioritary since it's where clients look. So here you go. Under pressure, she decided to delete the very AI-inspired artworks from her Twitter, but not from the platforms where people pay her money to draw. So essentially, she did nothing to fix the situation. So Ruru in the document would continue with, "She said she stopped, so why did I make this document? I wanted to trust her, so I let this matter go for a while, hoping for a good change. But recently, I came across some of her posts on my Twitter feed and wanted to check. I saw that her VGen still had verified commissions that had AI involved in the workflow in her portfolio, and she posted suspicious art again on her socials. She said she regretted using AI and did delete some of her most recent AI-assisted works from Twitter/X. She said she stopped in August 2025. But to this day, she still uses AI on some of her commissions in her VGen portfolio and still posts on her alt. She's also running a Patreon where she shares her NSFW art, which is also AI assisted. This is one of her most recent YCH commissions on VGen, September 19th, 2025. This was created long before August and has the same skill gap as the examples above, so I'm positive this is AI assisted. She deleted this YCH offer on VGen, yet still does commissions with this YCH to this day. So listen, just if you're curious, YCH means your character here, so they're custom commissions. One offer she had on her page was YCH elbow, right? So your character here with your character trying to touch their elbows. And you know, if someone with big boobs tries to touch their elbows, yeah, I think you get the point. This is why it's sensitive content. So here we'd see 3 different YCH arts, okay? I have to definitely censor that nipple, okay? I'm saying this just to remind myself when I edit, but overall the whole point is that all 3 of these art pieces were done after August 2025, and they're very heavily AI inspired.
Yeah, I can see it. Like, even with this, like, there's like a deformment in the ear, like right there. Yeah, I can see it. And also, I always notice this, but your characters here kind of like they all kind of look like they have the same face. So some sort of like I hate to say same face syndrome, but it's obvious since it's traced by AI, of course, it would be hard to get a different face. That is the same face. Yeah. I mean, I understand your character here usually comes with, like, a base, like, a basic, like, pose, but, like, usually I would see, whenever it comes to, like, the same face, or, like, these, like, your characters here, I expect a little bit of, like, diversity in the character design, you know? Because even, like, it's also good. Fair enough.
Oh my god, I actually know this VTuber. This is Alien Mixture, man. The document continues. She was posting previews to gather her audience on Patreon. You can see this also doesn't look like her real art, so most likely AI assisted. So here we can see her posting on Twitter this sketch, right? 1 hour sketch, by the way. Saying, remove the pasties on Patreon. So if you go subscribe to her Patreon, you'll get to see this art fully nude. This was the appeal. And it's still up on her Patreon to this day, even after the...
I'm actually not gonna say anything. I was about to go like, one day I'll be so bored. One day that'll be, I hope. Well, I mean, so a thing about me is, so I'm thinking about this now, and oddly a little bit off tangent, but if the day ever comes where I become like a famous like VTuber, I mean I doubt it, because due to the fact that my mental health gets so bad that there have been days where I've been streaming for like, I haven't been streaming for like weeks on end, and then there are days where I'll go like full on like hyperdrive stream like 3 days a week straight. Bombastic side eye. The Bridget. It all. Anyways, if I ever get to the day where I'm ever famous, and honestly, a part of me is like, I wouldn't mind if someone drew smut of me, but another part of me will be like, you know, Ian's like my baby, and even though she's like it's kind of like another part of me. I mean, she's one of the parts of me that I put up a persona for, so like, you know, her being like, I guess I'm trying to say is I don't want NSFW of Ian. I mean, again, artists have free will, so they can do it if they want to. I'll be uncomfortable with it, but yeah.
To continue, she also posted that she at least doesn't use AI, with frequently posted anti-AI content as well. So here we can see the meme she made about how she doesn't use AI even though she makes ugly drawings. And we can see multiple different tweets she made targeting AI users, calling them out, and saying things like, an artist with a trained eye can notice you tracing over AI. Just a heads up. If you can normally draw, why are you tracing AI? You look like a sore loser. This is AI and the artist is lying. Do not be deceived. Unless they show an actual time-lapse, I'm not stupid and your sketch is not a sketch. Always be AI sloppers. Even including a drawing of her character with the shirt saying, fuck AI. The document would then say she made this time-lapse post while still using AI in her workflow. She claimed to quit AI during
warm
August
here, so, you know, things
17th.
are blooming,
AI, but
and I
use
live
it.
with my
So
rabbit.
you can see a 15-second time-lapse of this drawing with her character saying fuck AI on the shirt. And, I mean, it's very, very clear here, right, that she's just drawing as if she's tracing. There's no reference whatsoever. It's like she's a genius that knows exactly where to place the eyes, the mouth, everything without making a single mistake, right? Without any hint that this is actually a real drawing, as if she's completely tracing an invisible layer here. Again, I really have to show you what an actual real time-lapse looks like, okay? I already used this example before in another video, and I'll do it again, all right? It's this drawing right here, and this is its time-lapse. So as you can see, it's a very messy process, right? Nothing is set in stone until the very, very end. Things are constantly moving, getting scaled, getting cut. This is what a real time-lapse looks like. And with Gami's time-lapse, we're not seeing that at all. A day before posting that very interesting time-lapse on June 16th, she'd post some, let's just say a cat girl sucking on something, right, on her alt account where she posted NSFW, and someone would just straight up reply and say, this is AI made, don't call it art. The document would say, some people could already recognize the AI and call her out sometimes. This is how my Discord members knew, because the Turkish community is small, word spreads fast about
I won my
like
fight
this.
against the play hard. Nice. Good for you.
Community. This is when we get to the next section. I will now show the DM shown in the document's introduction. This is when I reached out to No Name. Gami had told me that she had apologized to No Name about the fan art she did for her that looked like AI. Here are her DMs with No Name. The character she was drawing has very, in all caps, big boobs, like F-cup big. She didn't seem inclined to change her sketch, using a weird excuse that doesn't make sense, possibly because the reference she's using had small breasts. No Name noticed how Gami's art quality didn't match her previous art and how she wasn't willing to do changes like boob size. These red flags led No Name to confront Gami, which then resulted in Gami admitting AI usage. This fan art was posted on the 29th of December 2024, now deleted. So even before the confrontation, right, this was December 27, 2024, Gami would send a sketch to No Name, and No Name would say, oh Gami, what is your secret? How are you speeding like that? But Booba should be bigger. 3 days later, No Name would realize that, wait a second, this actually looks way better than Gami's usual drawings, and would ask the question, Gami, are you using AI as reference for your art? After Gami would admit that, No Name would say, make sure to use different references as well, otherwise you can accidentally train yourself doing the same mistakes AI does, LMAO. To which Gami would say, I would rather slip on ice than do AI mistakes on my own human-made art. I would never, LMAO. No Name was not informed until they asked. There isn't an apology as Gami claimed either. No Name does not support AI and states it publicly, so Gami made fan arts using AI for No Name, knowing they're against it. That's why No Name asked if Gami was using AI, since they also found Gami's art suspicious and wanted to check with her. All the artwork that was done for No Name is now deleted from Gami's profile. So look, so far, this already looks pretty damn bad for Gami, alright? But this next section that we're about to look at is titled Artwork Comparison, and I think you can kind of tell what we're about to get into here. This is where the document takes an in-depth look at showing us what her art used to look like before AI, and how much it differed after AI. I need to censor that nipple again, just saying that for editing purposes. I cannot forget this. Anyway. This section would start with why I think Gami isn't only referencing, but referencing one-to-one or possibly tracing to this day. We get 3 reasons. The first one would be her art skills without using AI are vastly different from AI-assisted ones. The second one, she doesn't have any proper art videos showing her sketch phase, and her streams usually start from already half-done art. And the third reason, she doesn't show any of the images she says she's referencing from, so it's likely traced or one-to-one referenced. So here we can see that even after starting to reference art, she would still attempt to make her own art, right? Trying to maybe mix it in with the AI-assisted posts, but even then they were very noticeable, right? It's not like they just blended in effortlessly. Here's a drawing from November 19th, 2025, in which you can see a clear gap in skill compared to the one posted on December 1st, 2025, as if it was 2 different people. We already saw the second example with fan art for Yoklash, but there will be way more examples here. I think the biggest difference here are the complex poses. She has a basic understanding of anatomy, but not complex enough to be able to draw something like this effortlessly. This is, of course, without us mentioning the incredible shading, right? The rendering here that is usually only seen with people who have been doing this for a very long time.
Honestly, I'm slightly jealous of the shading, because honestly, if any of you've seen, I've showed my art a couple times, and those who've seen my work, I kind of fiddle around with my shading process. Like, some days I'll go like really crazy with the shading, and then there are some days where I'm just like basic like cell shaded. You know.
Time. What's even worse here is this comparison of these 2 drawings, which were both commissions on VGen. Okay, both of these were paid for. The first one, made in December 2024, looks to be somewhat her art style. It is a fairly simple drawing. The second one, though, made only 2 months afterwards, could have been AI assisted, most notably with the posing and the rendering, because it's not as flat as the first drawing. But worst of all, in all of this, is her deleted artworks. The document would say, after saying she was going to delete her heavy reference from AI artworks, she deleted these art pieces from her Twitter. And yeah, if you're watching this with your own two eyes and not doing chores right now, you can very clearly see the massive, staggering difference between this kind of art style and the ones we just saw above that involved her using her actual own two hands.
Thank you for the head pat and the hydrate.
Also bear in mind, according to the document, this first image that we already saw.
Also, for anyone who is like sending stuff and I'm not seeing it, I recently got a thing where I'm streaming actually on like 2 separate platforms. Sup, pal? Nothing much. We're just watching stuff. We're gonna watch a video about Mujin, and then in the next, we're gonna hit another video. It's not showing up because I recently got a program for OBS that allows me to stream on 2 separate platforms. So I'm streaming on here and on my vlogs channel. I might make a separate YouTube account for streaming, like for my live streams, but I think it'll be okay on the vlogs channel. I'll probably take this video and then edit it. But for now, we're going to just stick with me streaming on 2 different platforms. Probably one will be unedited, and then I'll just do like edited ones for like different parts. Anyways, let's continue.
Earlier, with the fingers, was a paid commission. Someone paid money for this. Someone paid money for Gami to generate an art piece using AI. This is when we get to the conclusion. I am positive that Gami still uses AI in her workflow, despite saying she regrets it and that she quit in August 2025. As you can see the document, she was still posting AI-assisted commission work on December 1st, 2025. I think the customers and her followers deserve to have transparency on her workflow. Not everyone wants to buy AI art or AI-assisted art. I hope this becomes an opportunity for her to finally come clean and draw without using AI. Or if she continues using it, at least disclose it in her profiles and stop her activities on VGen where people come to buy human-made art. To Gami, I was quite happy to have a Turkish artist friend and I really wanted to believe you. Since the Turkish art community is already constantly in chaos, it felt really nice to have someone to talk to. But as time passed by, I realized you weren't being honest with me or with yourself. I'm normally not a person who writes docs like these, but I felt secondhand responsibility about this since I'm also Turkish, from the same community. I really hope you can come clean. That's right. You can do anything you want in your life, guys, but never mess with a Turkish person's sense of identity and national pride. Otherwise, you're gonna have a Google Doc written about you. In any case,
why does that sound like something like a hardcore American would do? Like you can't mess with an American's pride or something, I don't know.
Things clear. Gami was not the person she was claiming that she actually was. She was very clearly using AI to assist in her work and sometimes tracing it one-to-one. Hell, I think sometimes she would just post it without really tracing anything. I mean, this Shy Lily drawing is crazy, bro. Like, there's no way she actually drew that when she was drawing things like this barely a year before. But overall, of course, the biggest reason for this document having been made is because she was charging people money, both on Patreon and VGen, all while promising human-made art. This is not the case here at all. But Ruru wasn't done yet. On February 19th, just a day after that initial doc had dropped, they would reply to their quote tweet and say, after this doc, some people reached out to me to tell their experiences with Gami, including ghosting, hosting raffles but not drawing the winner, etc. Read here. This
video is sponsored by NordVPN. Oh my gosh.
People who actually hired her or worked with her exposed the terrible client-to-vendor relationships that they experienced, starting with the first section, rushed commission followed by ghosting. VTuber Mochi Mochi have commissioned Gami on VGen after seeing her commission for another VTuber in September 2024. Mochi wanted a similar styled commission from her and commissioned Gami, but the piece she received didn't look similar in style to what she asked for and seemed rushed. So she was asking for something that looked like this, right? The drawing on the left, something with that same style and type of rendering. What she got on the right, I mean, can you even call this a sketch? Like, this is incomplete.
Pause the stream for Nord ad.
Oh,
are you actually running an ad? I am so sorry. Did you want me to pause? No, I'm joking. Oh, okay.
Anything like Mochi's character. Mochi even bothered sketching what she wanted, how she wanted her character to look with her ears down. But this doesn't look like that at all. It looks like some sort of weird beanie. This is when Mochi would message Gami on VGen, saying, I have a question about my surprise delivery. I ordered it based off the image I saw posted on your Twitter. When I went to see mine today, I was very unhappy about the quality. Is there a reason why the 2 photos are both so different in quality? I also noticed her bottom right thigh forgot to be colored and right below her thigh bracelet. And yes, that's true. I mean, this wasn't even colored, dude. Gami would reply with, She had a very filled up design, that is why I had to pay more attention. My personal opinion is that I shaded yours more, but if you are unhappy with it, I can retouch on it later this week. This is when Mochi would say, I'm sorry, but I feel like this piece was rushed and not treated with the same care. I circled the part of the thigh where it is missing color, it's just white. The mochi and the ears also feel rushed. You can say you shaded mine more, but the thighs are not shaded at all. I'm just a bit upset because I was really looking forward to this piece. Thank you for offering to retouch it, I really appreciate it. The document will continue. Unfortunately, after this point, Gami ghosted Mochi and the commission review period ended on Mujin. Mochi didn't receive any touch-ups as promised or any updates. Mochi left a 1-star review. The document will also prove that Mochi actually paid for this commission. $45 for an incomplete sketch that doesn't even look passable. But I wish that's where it ended, because the next section features a giveaway winner that didn't get their art. The document would say, Gami and a couple of other artists had made a studio called Mellow Studio back in 2023, June. Gami was drawing, someone else was rigging the art, and they were offering VTuber assets, models, etc. Around January 2024, they created a chibi VTuber called Mellow Chibi. With Gami's suggestion, they have made an art plus rig raffle for these chibi models to boost up their new product. Raffle was held on the 7th of January 2024. The winner didn't get their model for 10 months, so they decided to text on October 19th, 2024. The winner ended up not getting their art. After 1 year, they also didn't even get a reply from Gami. The rigger was very upset at Gami for not providing the art since it was a collab raffle, so they stopped working with Gami. Mellow Studio became inactive. The rigger also reached out to the winner. So here we can see the DMs between the winner and Gami. They reached out in October after 10 months, and they were very polite, by the way. Hey, it's been a little bit, and I was wondering if this was still happening. If not, it's okay. I just wanted to know. Smiley face. Gami would say, it will be happening. Yes, I have you in my calendar. I have picked back school, so I've been quite busy. The winner would say, oh, that's okay. Take your time. I was just curious. Thank you so much. 5 months later, in March 2025, the winner would reach out again saying, hello, I just wanted to check in. I in no way want to bother you. I'm just curious about when we expect to get started. I recently had a design update, so I just wanted to check in. Again, no rush at all. I know you said I was...
So, okay, I'm gonna put in my 2 cents here. So, I know one thing is that life can definitely get in the way, and honestly, as someone who likes to draw other people, especially requests, I try to always at least give information or heads up about what's going on. A little bit ago, a friend of mine, I promised, I was drawing a bunch of people as cookies, as Cookie Run characters. One of them I haven't even started on due to, I've just been kind of having one of those, flat art days where I'm just... Art block, that's the word I'm looking for. And I still haven't started, and I feel so bad, because, I'm like, I need to do it! And then my brain is like, no, let's not do it, let's draw something else. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna update my, my background. I can understand that, but especially when you're even if it's a free art raffle, at least try to give some information about what's going on with people for that. But if you're also getting commissions, you need to put them as top priority to anything, and you need to do it whether you are stressed or not. I know if I ever get a commission work, I definitely need to, I'm gonna put everything else aside, minus taking care of my rabbit and taking care of my house. And I guess I would consider also keeping up social relationships with my IRL self. But everything else can come later. Commission must become first priority when I have time to draw. But that's just me. It's different for people. Some people may, not want to do it, under stress. So they're it may take a while for you to get your commission because I don't want to work myself into a stress hole, if that makes sense. The curses of being an artist.
I'm just curious. So obviously, very unprofessional and unacceptable. And as the document would say, the rigger would end up reaching out to the winner on Twitter saying, yo, Gami hasn't even started drawing your model. I reached out a couple times. She doesn't seem to really care. So instead, I'll draw it and rig it. The rigger would cut all contact with Gami, but Gami would then go ahead and continue hosting raffles anyway. That is crazy. How shameless can you get? We would then see...
If I ever commission something, I don't care if it takes if it takes 3 years, as long as I get it. Yeah.
Gami's commission queue for Mujin. This is her queue for paid commissions, right? I pay her money, she puts it in her queue, and this is where I can see the progress. There are commissions that have been there since October 2023.
Oh my gosh, what the hell? Okay, so if there's one thing I know as an artist is that usually people would like to also like have a cap on their commissions. I know for me, I'd probably have a commission cap at 3 because I remember when I was still a new. We're in 2026, right? Yeah, we are. So they've been in there for 3 years. Well, actually more like 2 years. Because we're still in the beginning of 2023, and some of them have been in there since, like, October. And so they've been in there for, like, about 2 years. Gonna be hitting 3 by October. 2 years! And, oh man, just looking at this, I'm thinking about it from a perspective as an artist, is that I always my thing is, try to keep it capped out, because I remember when I was doing, like, little requests on Twitter, when Friday Night Funkin' was popular, I was drawing VTubers as FNF models. I couldn't get through everyone, because right after the third person, I was just like, sort of like in that mood, and I was like, I don't want to do anymore. So, like, I would say, if anything, keep your stuff in, like, put stuff in a waitlist, and don't be afraid to make your waitlist as small as possible. Is it annoying? Yeah. Will it piss people off? Probably. I just realized that this is like cut off like real badly. There we go. And I'm gonna resize and there.
That she hasn't even begun to work on. Oh my god, this just keeps getting worse. The next section would have yet another unsatisfied customer paying over $1,000 just to get this VTuber model in 3 different outfits. On the third outfit, the client asked for thigh-high socks, and this is what they got. Some sort of a weird gradient. As if the model had, like, put her feet in some very hot water in a cartoon or something. It looks weird.
Also, when you look at it, what is that? Is it, like, I can't tell where the skin is and where the outfit is, and that bothers me on so many levels. Naked. I'm raising a bunch. My VTuber community is going to be nothing more than I'm just going to be raising a generation of perverts. I still like you guys. Don't worry, heart little thing. Honestly, though, I kind of dig those bear claws. The clothes, they're just tattoos. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Colors for thigh-high feet in some very hot water in a cartoon. Right? She can't. It looks weird. And finally, just as you've been telling yourself, no, this can't get worse, right? She can't get more shameless than this. Well, the section's called Undelivered Models. During October 2024, Gami launched a project under their studio called Fawn Studio. How many studios did she make, man? This is a studio that makes VTuber models and Gami.
If anybody hears the dog barking, forgive me. I just turned down my mic. I really need to get like some of that styrofoam stuff to put on like my walls to block out sound. But what do you expect? I stream in my room, and my room has a window in the background.
Gami's the artist. The project was called
I don't
Fruit
mind,
Gals, and it was an audition-based VTuber
I don't know
model
about
giveaway with
others.
some rules. So look, this was structured in a way to resemble VTuber agencies where you audition, and if you're accepted, you get a VTuber model. You wouldn't get a salary, but you'd keep all your donations, and you'd be part of a group. But if you decide to leave, you obviously can't keep the model. It's owned by the studio. One of the girls that auditioned and got accepted would reach out to Ruru and would talk about how she and the other girls were completely and entirely misled. So essentially, Gami would be posting these updates, right, of these different models that she was drawing up, and they were very excited. But then at some point, the updates would just stop, and
I'm
Gami
sorry.
would stop communicating consistently, leaving all the members in the dark for months. Here we can see one of the girls deciding to reach out to raise her concerns on behalf of everyone else in the group, saying, "Hey Gami, I'm sending this message on behalf of me and the girls, and I would like to say that we are all tired of unresponsiveness, lack of communication, broken promises, and lack of care." It was actually a very considerate message, with this person even saying, "I hope what you take out of this will be, don't bite off more than you can chew. It genuinely came from a good place, but more importantly, one thing she would say is, we'd have understood if the models had taken a month to finish, but it has now been 8 months. The document would specify the reason why they're saying we would have understood if the models had taken a month to finish, but it has now been 8 months, is because Fawn Studio had posted that they can finish and deliver models in around a week. That is insane, by the way. Okay, if you want a custom drawn model that is rigged and ready to go, you need months, man. There's no one in the world that can do this in a week.
For anyone who doesn't know, I made my model. It took me, I think, about a week, maybe even less than. Then again, I'm someone who has a lot of free time. Like a lot of free time, so when I'm really in the mood, I could probably draw like a model like in a day, set it up and prepare it to be rigged the next day. I'm an artist and I'm very creative, and when you're an artist and you're creative and you got a lot of free time, you know, you can do a lot of shit real fast. Jokes aside, though, if you ever do decide to get into making VTuber models, it can take time, lots of time, and I know it took me about 5 years to get to where I am as a person who makes VTuber models, whether it is as a side hobby or or even just like a. What am I doing? I could just... There we go. That's better. As someone who just makes... You know what I mean?
To this message, both Gami and the rigger involved with the studio would respond. They would both somewhat say the same thing, so let's just read what Gami had to say. I apologize for the lack of communication on my end. I'm very overworked and I do my best on keeping up with everything. Art is my only income, so I have to keep working most of the time. That being said, I have finished 3 of the models and already have sent them over to blank, which is the rigger. I'm not blaming her in this since she also has her own commissions that she has to work on. Please do keep in mind that Food Gals is a passion project on my end. I do not gain anything from making you models. I understand you, I really do, but I'm booked until September and I'm drawing constantly. For the last model also, I have started drawing her. I don't usually have the time to just sit down for days and work only on one thing since I have commissions that hit me constantly. I was hoping to finish her later this month since I'm done with my year for school. Nobody lied about anything. I told you guys from the start that I would do my best and I'm doing so. I still am sorry that you guys felt not cared for. I never wanted this. All I wanted was to be able to help you guys grow and make content the way you guys wish to make. The document would then say, but after this, again, there were no updates. A couple months later, on August 1st, 2025, we'd see 2 messages from both girls separately saying, hey, I'm out. Okay, this is clearly not happening. I don't want to do this anymore. And Gami wouldn't even bother replying. So look, by now, this wasn't just about AI anymore. This was about Gami being a bad person to work with, very badly treating some of her clients, and having this habit of empty promises, of doing these giveaways that she never honored. At this point, she was officially a compulsive liar in the eyes of the community. There was nothing she could say that would make anyone believe her. This is when her viral post saying that maybe I make ugly drawings, but at least I don't use AI would get community noted. And the community note would just straight up say, Gami uses AI for her drawings. Like, just straight up, no bullshit. She uses AI. Shut the fuck up. Linking Ruru's initial Twitter post and the first Google document we went through, obliterating her reputation, her career, her online presence in just one sentence. Very few community notes can compare to the savagery here. But of course, you might be wondering, what about Gami herself? Does she have a response? I mean, she clearly saw this. She got community noted very humiliatingly. What did she have to say? And how did it manage to make things worse somehow? Gami would post this on her Twitter on February 20th, 2026, one day after the second Google Doc had dropped, saying, I have done a speed paint to address the AI allegations. This was done completely live on Twitch with a full display screen showing my entire process. The link to the VOD is down below. I'm aware of the other things being said and everything will be addressed soon. There's a lot to go over and I want to make sure I address everything. This has been a lot to take in, so I thank you for your patience. The top reply here that almost ratioed her would say, no one is denying you can draw. You draw very well. The thing is, none of this is reflected on these. And it's scummy to say you are against AI when admitting to have been making drawings very heavily AI referenced. Just say in your profile you use AI as part of your process. Additionally, even during her stream, it would be clear that she was using AI references to draw the thighs. You can see this right here. This was on her own monitor. It didn't help. If anything, it only made things worse. Facing even more backlash after that disastrous stream, Gami would quote tweet the second document that Ruru had written and would say, "Sorry for the wait," linking her own Google Doc. This would be one of the shortest Google Docs I have seen in my life. It could have very easily been a tweet, but she would say, "I'm sorry for taking this long to address all of this. I had some time to myself and had to calm down before I made a statement on the matters at hand. I would like to start by apologizing to all my clients that feel wronged by me using AI as reference for their artworks. I'll be transparent in my art processes going forward and have clear communication with my clients to make sure they're satisfied with the commissions they will be getting. If any of my current ongoing commissions that have paid for their commissions want their funds refunded, I'll be refunding your funds. Also, if any of my commissioners want their progress recorded for full transparency, if it means they will feel more secure about their commission," that's where the sentence ends. That's literally where the sentence ends. Like, there's literally a fucking period at the end. Okay, well, English is not her first language, but hey, at least we can be sure she didn't use ChatGPT, okay? She actually wrote this herself. She would then say in parentheses, "I will also be posting them on YouTube as an unlisted playlist, so there will be a record of all the work I will be doing. This is not an excuse. I've been really busy with real life stuff in school, and some of my work has been rushed because of this. I've been very irresponsible with my scheduling and will be getting help on my scheduling moving forward. I'm also thankful for people who have patiently waited for their commissions. I'm sorry it took as long as it did for me to get them done. I'm sorry for disappointing everyone, and I promise to do better moving forward." So look, not only was this response grammatically a disaster, it was a disaster in and of itself. It didn't address anything. It was very vague, and I mean, you don't have to listen to me say this. Ruru said it themselves, replying to her post, ratioing her, and saying, "You didn't address the raffle winner or the past clients who purchased AI-assisted work without knowing. If rebuilding trust is the goal, taking full accountability is the first step to do that. I believe those situations should be acknowledged and refunded properly as well." That's a very good point. What about the raffle winners? What about the people that you gave empty promises to? What's ironic here is that she wasn't quote tweeting the first document, she was quote tweeting the other document that talks about her terrible communication with clients, with the raffle winners. I mean, honestly, at this point, deleting your account would have been better than putting this Google Doc out to the public. Like, what the hell is this? 100,000 views and barely any interaction. People were done with this. They had already made up their minds. The proof was there, and there was nothing she could do except take accountability, and she failed to do even that. On the original quote tweet that Ruru had made, with the initial document exposing Gami, you'd see many people in the replies pretty much disowning her, right? They might have come across her fan art, they might have liked it before, they might have interacted with her, but now this was over. This is not someone they wanted anything to do with. After this whole debacle, Gami would continue posting on her Twitter. And yes, it does seem like she's not using AI. It does seem like it was, drawn actually by her, but the trust is lost. No accountability means no forgiveness. And it's going to be very hard for her to build back up what she already had. This is especially considering that her VGen got suspended. She can't take commissions anymore, and she's essentially lost the fan base that she had taken years to build. Look, I can't predict the future. I don't know where we'll be years from now, and I don't know whether there will be a day where society will actually accept AI as a whole. However, if you want to use AI as reference, or hell, as very heavy inspiration to your art, at least specify that. At least be honest about that. If someone's willing to pay for that, then hey, good on them. It's their money. They can do whatever they want with it. But don't pretend to be someone you're not, because that's just what a scammer does. And you don't want to be labeled as a scammer, because if you are, you end up like Gami. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you want to see actual amazing art that is not AI assisted in any way, featuring my character as well as exclusive videos posted every month, then make sure to check out my Stacked page. Link in the description and the pinned comment. Prices start at $1. I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is, and I love you so much. Platonically. Take care. Mwah.
Thank you, Mujin. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. All right. Pink 9, nice. All right, thank you for the posture check. All right, everyone, we're gonna take an ad break. I am gonna open. I forgot also, I set my thing to Needy Streamer because I love that game to death. I'm going to channel. Okay, and then okay, I'm muted. So maybe I should switch to chat before I do this. There we go. So we're gonna do a little, we're gonna do an ad break. So, yeah, go get yourself a snack, go get some more water. I need to grab some more water myself. Yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, welcome back. I don't know how long it's been. That's why I decided to start now. So we're gonna just pause that, and we're gonna hit the next video.
Family laugh at the dinner table. I know you don't.
Okay, there we go. And then there we go. I should have had the sip, but I'm having scuff today. But hey, that's the life of a VTuber. We're doing another video. Here's the next video by Royalty is Here. So yeah, let's get started then. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Even though you're not funny, you don't make your family laugh at the dinner table. I know you don't. What do you tell them? Yeah, I'm just a peanut. I have a...
You literally said the N-word multiple times. I don't know why saying a word means anything, but okay. I did not choose this peanut life. I got turned into one by the Burntpeanut.
Hey everybody, CP here, the cool potato. Just wanted to show off the new streamer persona.
I'm curious what
streaming
this
has
is
become
about.
quite popular, especially since 2020, where it saw a huge spike in attention, probably due to things like COVID, where we were all forced inside, and for many in education at the time, you had to put up with makeshift and quickly put together online classes that I'm pretty sure nobody learned a single thing in.
I'm not a child, Heidi. I'm a grown man.
Yo, Randy, you bald as
We've been hacked.
But for many people around that time, especially when the lockdowns had just
The Gears of War music makes this video 10 out of 10 for me now.
started, you had to find things to do, which for some turned into learning skills like coding, cooking, painting, and maybe learning how to properly exercise. Or for some it meant playing the same games over and over till you eventually become fatigued with games in general, and even though you had all this free time now, you just couldn't bring yourself to play a game for even 15 minutes before getting bored, closing the game, and staring blankly at the screen. But watching someone else play the exact same game was a different thing entirely. Streaming around this time was already rising in popularity due to key streamers like Ninja.
Had shockwaves after he railed me like that from behind. After he shot on my back. After he came from behind.
But now with everyone
Can't
inside,
catch a break.
streaming exploded. We had things like the Among Us craze, a rise in Minecraft viewership due to things like the Dream SMP, where we saw a different breed of parasocial viewer. We even saw the appearance of more things like VTubers. But one of the results of COVID, apart from it apparently messing with the fabric of time, where it feels like time is going way too fast now, but another effect was that streaming got more popular, more people tried doing it, and more people got into it. It became mainstream, and even after COVID ended, it only became more popular, which has led to the streamers themselves being looked at more like celebrities. I mean, even celebrities themselves have tried to, in one way or another, enter the streaming space.
We could be taking questions right now. TikTok, you got any questions for me? What am I saying? I'm saying, please come to Peru. You ate. Appreciate that. Love you, Brunito. When you...
I didn't know Bruno took up streaming. You know what? Good for him. He's a great artist.
Come into my house. All right, maybe this questions thing wasn't a good idea.
But with streaming blowing up, it has come with a number of negative aspects as well. Hate watching is one of them, where people watch you for the sole purpose of preying on your downfall.
Who wants some? You want this? Come get it! Get a job, Dale.
Why do you guys keep doing this?
Bruno Street? I guess he does. Good for him. You know, it's Bruno Mars, right? I would hate to be... I think it's Bruno Mars. I grew up with Bruno Mars. Love his music. Loved his music. Still do. Good for him.
If you blow up quite fast and your content is everywhere, people will get tired of seeing you and start to hate you. The only person I've seen that is completely immune to this is Queso. I have not seen an ounce of hate for him except his chat saying he's the descendant of a prehistoric megalodon, which is one of the many ways they call him fat. There's also a problem with clones, where especially if you get popular for a specific thing or niche, some may attempt to copy you or what you're known for to reap the same benefits. streams, and all of which I just briefly described probably applies to
I'll be honest, I kind of find Queso funny. I mean, I see him everywhere, and sometimes I'm like, ugh, why do people like him? But honestly, when watching him, I can see why. He's got that personality that you like. Like, someone who doesn't care. I mean, though, I, on the other hand, when COVID was going around, I was more of a Dream SMP person. Yes, I am cringe. Enjoy it. Know that I'm cringe. I mean, but honestly, I just really liked J Schlatt.
tenfolds to the streamer I'm going to be speaking about today. A streamer that at their peak took over the internet to the point where people of all ages were watching him. A streamer that with each stream would get over 100,000 concurrent viewers. And a streamer that is quite literally a burnt carbohydrate. The Burntpeanut.
There's a new one though. For some reason, a bunch of Dr. Disrespect Champion Club members have been coming in.
No!
They like think since I'm big now, I'm encroaching on his territory or something. It's like I'm on Arc Raiders, not the playground.
Now, if you don't know who the Burntpeanut is, he started streaming all the way back in 2022.
Oh.
And when he started, he wasn't a peanut. He was an actual person, a fleshy, if you will. But it's important to note that almost all records of these past streams when he wasn't the peanut has been scrubbed from the internet to the point where you can only find singular frames of those streams. But back then he mainly streamed Escape from Tarkov, the game you only play if you have a gambling addiction, or you're a masochist and hate yourself.
I can do it. Ready? I'm gonna fight until it's up. Ready? For the team, boys.
What is that scream? That dude, what is that scream, man? That is so sad. I've seen people scream better than that. If I were to rate it, 2 out of 10.
Or, more commonly, you're a hacker. When he began streaming, he was still working a full-time job at a call center for scheduling, with the main thing being scheduled, according to him, being cat waxing. But it was the cat usually most of you definitely aren't used to seeing, if you catch my drift. But when he started, he would stream regularly for around 5 months before giving it up, and he would only return a year later after a friend persuaded him to start streaming again. And after one of his first streams back, he noticed his name was Burntpeanut. So for his next stream, he became a peanut, and the rest from there is seemingly history. He still played Tarkov, but now as a peanut, and he began streaming more regularly with usually a daily stream that ranged from 2 to 6 hours depending on the day.
You know, I'll never understand how, like, streamers can stream for multiple hours at a time. Like, I guess for me it's kind of different because of my disability, and it's honestly kind of a stressful kind of thing to deal with. But, like, I try to stream, and I'm, like, dreading it every time. There are days where I'm like, I could stream, and then... What I'm trying to say is, how do people stream without, like, feeling, like, overwhelmed or burned out? That's the real question I'm trying to ask.
He also began taking his clips from his stream and posting them to places like YouTube, which assisted in slowly building up his following.
I'm about to show you the power of the Windingulator, the most powerful weapon in all of Tarkov, but do not share it with anyone.
Adamantium.
Oh my god.
I got him.
By the end of 2024, he was averaging over 1,000 concurrent viewers, and it would only go up from there at the start of the next year. However, he was still streaming Tarkov, which people didn't really mind. Most were there for his personality at that point.
Did I win?
Fucking camping little bitch pussy.
Got your little boyfriend.
Yeah, he's a fucking Timmy, you little.
And you're next. Yeah!
And things like his peanut avatar constantly changing, the animations he played before he went into each raid, animations which were made by his brother, and the fact there was never truly a dull moment in his streams was why a lot of people kept watching him.
Love you, nut. Peanut's middle is the perfect place for my froggy penis. I want to wear them like a...
And all of this would later be a hallmark of his content. By August of 2025, he was averaging over 10,000 viewers, which put him at the top percentile of streamers, but his viewership would soon skyrocket in November of the same year, which was partially due to the launch of a game called Ark Raiders, a game that was initially thought to be just another extraction shooter trying to copy Tarkov, and a game that 3 years ago was supposed to be a completely different game. But despite what people thought before it launched, it was somewhat of an instant success when it finally released, both with a lot of people playing it and watching it. Peanut began streaming it on release, and quickly he not only became the face of the game, but the face of streaming for quite a while.
Wait, they're saying running die.
Should I give Ark Raiders a try?
Oh fuck.
At this point, you could not escape Peanut. He had broken outside the Ark Raiders category and become mainstream. Every platform either had a clip of his stream or a clip of someone talking about his stream. But with that many eyes on you, it almost becomes impossible to avoid controversy, either by people clipping you out of context, or even some people going all the way back before you blew up and sharing a clip of you saying a slur.
I would get QD OLED. Oh my god, dude, what is it? What is up with this fat far man?
Oh shit. Oh fuck. God damn it.
He even got into a controversy for being nominated and winning the VTuber of the Year award, which pissed a lot of people off because they don't think he's a VTuber. I mean...
So, I'll be honest. Burntpeanut can say he's not a VTuber till the cows come home. But he technically is. What is a VTuber? A virtual YouTuber. V stands for virtual. He uses a virtual avatar. He is a VTuber. He can deny it all he wants. He could say he's a PTuber because he's a peanut, but at the end of the day, he's technically a VTuber because he uses a virtual peanut avatar with his face on it to stream.
He even thinks he's not a VTuber, he classifies himself as a PTuber, and after facing all of this backlash, he immediately started making jokes at the expense of the people that were mad at him.
That's a VTuber right there. Listen up, 40-year-old man in a 15-year-old anime 2D VTubing suit.
But if we were honest, it was the Streamer Awards, the event that most criticised for their theory it's just an award show for the friends of the people that host it, and the event where there's backlash each year for the nominations and award winners anyway. Like, it happens every year. But apart from people digging things up from his past, apart from his classifications as a VTuber or a PTuber, and apart from his controversies, there's already a few problems that have surrounded him, and it's only gotten worse as he's gotten bigger. And it's to the point now where it's widespread and more apparent than ever, and you could say it's at the level now where it's directly affecting the reputation of Peanut. But what are these problems?
Ooh, let's fart on him. Well, sniff it.
I feel like I need to open the Bible study again.
So as
Should I open the Bible study again?
I said, when creators blow up, especially for a specific reason, it's natural to see others witness this attention and attempt to recreate it to potentially get a portion of the limelight. This can range from playing the same game to doing the same content to, at worst, attempting to replicate the personality of the original content creator.
According to him, he didn't like the spiritual meaning behind the label VTuber because of the stereotype that most VTubers fall under the usual anime, big titty, gooner, bait, avatar category. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I mean, I can't say because most of my aesthetic is also anime, and honestly, most of the time I do try to make my boobs big. But I can see where he's coming from now. So you know what? I respect him not liking the term VTuber because of that meaning, yeah. I always took VTuber as meaning, you know, a person with a virtual avatar. Even like someone like it's a Gundam. He uses like a virtual avatar for his videos. So like That's what I always thought of a VTuber was someone who is like who used a virtual character to represent the IRL them.
You really think I'm queso? You really think I'm queso?
And Peanut is no different from
Don't
this
treat
trend.
your
Actually,
chair
in
like
his
that,
case,
man.
It's much worse. Probably because he's formatted in the way he is. He is simply a peanut with a filter that captures his mouth and eyes, projected onto the 3D Peanut model. Before Peanut blew up, there was little to nobody with the same format. Ironically, the closest relative to his format he had at the time was actually VTubers. And I know by simply just making that comparison may result in some fans having an aneurysm, but when he did eventually blow up, it essentially became a gold rush overnight. Hundreds of other streamers would adopt an inanimate object with their face displayed on top of it, which ranged from things.
What if I did that? What if I turned myself into an inanimate object and just started streaming like that? Would you guys watch that?
Like other edible items, to items of clothing, to random objects, to even organs. I have a feeling we are soon going to see a peanut clone in the form of a puckered anus that was locally sourced. That would actually be impressive, probably because she'll be instantaneously banned, but then again, if you're streaming on Twitch, knowing them, you might be fine. There was also
Turn into evil mushroom. No, mushroom's not. Well, mushroom's already evil enough as is. Counting with that mushroom's based off of my rabbit.
Ryzen tutorials walking you through how to make your own burnt peanut avatar, which only made it more widespread. Now, these streamers obviously knew what they were doing.
I'm not trying to copy Burntpeanut. I say I'm different from the peanuts. I say
A lot of these new streamers would begin being called peanut clones, and I've yet to see one that has successfully pulled this off and managed to gather an audience that doesn't associate them with peanut. But are we seeing a trend like VTubers where one person inspires many others to the point where it becomes its own genre? No. As said, I don't see any of these new streamers doing anything unique, and none have accomplished the goal of branching away from the peanut stereotype. I mean,
exactly.
We had the Annoying Orange do this shit like 10 years ago, and I don't think there were any successful copies around that time, but hey, I could be wrong. Maybe a disheveled filled condom will be Streamer of the Year around this time next year. Even Peanut has picked up on people doing this, and he doesn't really seem to have a problem with it.
I mean, are they... I don't know. I mean, are they kind of hopping on the floor a little bit? Sure. But you know what I mean? It's like whatever. It's like whatever. I mean, I didn't invent the peanut. I didn't, you know what I'm about? They can do whatever they want. They can, you know what I mean? But follow your dreams, that's what I say. That's what I say.
However, even though there are a lot of these clones, currently there is one that stands above the rest. The ultimate peanut clone, and that is the Faithful Sheriff.
Ooh, let's fart on him. Well, sniff it.
Bro.
We got him.
He is the very definition of a peanut clone. He is what appears to be the inbred variant of the burnt peanut. He even has lore that relates to the burnt peanut. Where the story goes, he was turned into a peanut because he disrespected Peanut's friend, Gingy, which outside of the peanut he did actually do. He made a whole video saying she was boring, and apparently they saw that video and responded to it. But in the lore, after seeing Gingy disrespected, the burnt peanut would respond by using his peanut wizard powers to turn this guy into a peanut.
Peanut has lore.
You know what you mean?
Yeah, he turned me into a peanut, actually. That's why I'm a peanut. He turned me into one.
But the real question is, why not another type of nut? Because if there's one thing I know about, like, character design, is you want to always try to be unique with your design. I know I am probably one of a million angels, and I'm probably only like one of 10 angels with a moon aesthetic. But you gotta at least try to make it at least a little bit unique. I feel like him going for a whole peanut aesthetic kind of goes against the burnt peanut. Try to at least make it, I don't know, make it a cashew or something. That's my opinion, though.
He's my arch nemesis.
But this isn't the first time the fearful sheriff has done something like this, because he was previously known before his rebrand as Dr. Witnesser, or as most people called him, Dr. Chud. And if it wasn't obvious, this was his attempt in trying to be a clone of Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Witnesser, thank you for the $10, Doc. I'm 20 minutes deep in some spice, hot, acidic, goosebump-driven diarrhea, and I ran out of toilet paper. I'm install 102 in the arena. Can you send Alex in to toss me a roll? Alex is not here today. You're in shit out of luck.
Bro, that was so worth it.
He was quite infamously known around this time for one, constantly saying slurs.
So, back in the day of the 1910 and 1800s, people would refer to black individuals as niggers.
He was also known as the guy who told an 8-year-old child that Santa wasn't real.
People were saying that Santa Claus isn't real.
Cashew, like the palico that you sent to the Shadow Realm and why? Oh, for most who don't know what Haku's referencing, when I first got into Monster Hunter Wilds, I played a little bit, and then I had to do something, so I got off of it, so I deleted the game to make space in my computer. Or, I don't even remember. When I re-downloaded it, I realized I didn't back up my save file onto the cloud, so I lost my first playthrough, and then I had to restart from the beginning, and I lost my Palico Cashew.
That your parents just bring you the presents.
Yeah, that's actually true, unfortunately. And that's another lie, and that people do spread. I don't teach my kids about Santa Claus because it's not real, and I don't lie to my kids.
He was also known to be heavily religious, and if you had a mic on in his Fortnite lobby, he would try and convert you to some form of Christianity. Even if you have a different religion or you're a child, he will still try and convert you.
It's smart.
Nice.
I'm playing PS4 right now, but I'm gonna play on Xbox.
Cool.
Yes.
So, listen, I go into games and I teach people about the Bible.
Yeah.
About the afterlife.
You know how much that Xbox cost?
What?
You know how much that Xbox cost?
I think he was most known for trying to convert a child and telling them if they don't convert, they will go to hell when they die or something. But
okay, so a little off tangent about that. So for most people who don't know, who actually have seen my stuff I post on TikTok from time to time, I am a religious person. I do sometimes talk about my religion growing up. My father's a pastor, and he does his own stuff with his own TikTok channel that he does. But as a VTuber, I'll sometimes talk about my religion, and sometimes make a religious humor joke here and there, or even just don't try to indoctrinate people while you're streaming, and especially when kids are just trying to play a game. I know one thing: the Bible, it's written as Christians, as myself, we're supposed to spread the gospel, try to save as many people as possible. I'm of the belief is that, I can talk about Christianity till heaven ascends to the earth, but I'm not going to be able to push it unless someone is willing to come to me and say, hey, so I heard you're Christian. You mind giving me some stuff about this, this, and that? I never try to push the religion. It's funny because I talk to Haku a lot about it, and, I don't try to force it. I just like to talk about it, and, I am, all over the map today. Okay, let's continue the video. It's almost done.
Obviously, with his reputation in the toilet as Dr. Witnesser, he would move on to greener pastures, which was doing the exact same thing.
I know I ain't making up there, straight down to the bottom of the floor. You don't know. Well,
thing he was doing before, but now as a peanut.
So, do you believe in Jesus? Or did college teach you out of Jesus? 'Cause that's what
No.
they do.
Again, as a Christian, whenever I'm doing like stuff, I never try to force it, because I feel like the one thing I feel like for people who are like trying to spread the gospel, you shouldn't try to really, you should try to preach it, you know, spread the gospel, spread that Jesus loves you, he's still with you, whether you walk with him or you don't. It's your but at the end of the day, it's your personal relationship with God. I'd be like, I don't talk about religion unless someone comes up to me and wanting to talk about it, because I feel it's easier for people to, I feel like it would be easier for people to come up to me and say, hey, I have questions about Jesus, and never just say like, oh, you need to, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to preach to you. I'm just the type of person who's like, you know what? I have a father who's a pastor, and it's always better to have a relationship with God by coming to someone. You feel like you can walk up to them, say, hey, I'm still studying, I'm needing help understanding my walk with the Lord, if that makes sense. I would never try to force it unless someone asks. Then I start talking. Hell, even when I was talking with during one of the Voop chat streams, if anybody remembers, when I was talking, I think I might have actually not been streaming it, but I got into a conversation with one of the VTubers about religion, and we kind of had a good conversation about it, and yeah.
And for some reason, he has a bit where he loves being a bit gassy, and he will regularly unload on stream.
Good morning, everybody. It's the Faithful Sheriff, and today we're going into Fortnite and telling everybody about the good Lord. Everyone's welcome, if you're nice and all that.
Do not tell Pyrocynical about this streamer. Now, obviously, he could not outrun his past, and with him doing the same thing he did with Dr. Disrespect, now with the Burntpeanut, he quickly became one of the most hated Peanut clones, because at least all the other clones did their own thing. They never tried to be a carbon copy, and they never begged for attention from Peanut.
Here's the deal. If you get the Burntpeanut to respond to this video by saying, I released you of your peanut bones, you get your witnesser back.
But because people hated him so much, it has led to a number of things happening. First, someone sent him a fake cease and desist letter, which was said to be from Peanut, which made him promptly end stream because he thought he was going to get sued by Peanut. The second thing was that people started circulating fake rumors about him. Someone photoshopped a cock on his Peanut, which was something that happened to the original Peanut, and they made it look like he was requesting this just so he could be like Peanut, and he denies it.
I never said this. I never even knew that these guys existed prior to yesterday when this post came out. Here's a picture of my real penis that you can use. Obviously, this is not me. Y'all have seen me. This person probably weighs about 170. I'm 300 pounds.
People also raided his
And that's not a
Discord
good
day
thing, you
one
know?
and circulated some rumors there. And third, they have doxed him whilst he was live multiple times. In one event, reading out his full social security number, and in another, a person in a game with him calls him out for not living in Texas and LARPing that he does, and then they proceed to read out his current address, which, understandably, results in a reaction of him looking at the camera like he had just witnessed a second Hiroshima.
I kind of like how you lied about being from Texas when you live in...
I don't live there, buddy.
Really? Because your wife does?
You can actually find a lot of hate posts about him just showing his address, which is fucked up, because he has a wife and kids, and you are potentially putting him and his family in danger doing this.
The real question is, why are you acting like that when you have a wife and kids? I mean, I understand internet persona versus IRL self, but like, why?
You shouldn't do this, but from the outside with all of this happening, it has not hindered his activity at all. He seems to have more viewership than ever since he became the Faithful Sheriff, but obviously it has somewhat affected the Burntpeanut brand and potentially added to the next problem Peanut has been facing.
Mr. Silly! A little bit of goo. A little bit of goo. Well, I'm such a chud.
Now the last problem is something I mentioned at the start of the video, which is when you get as big as Peanut and you are basically everywhere on most platforms. I think even I've been barraged by Peanut clips on my beloved Instagram Reels. And although it's probably not just Peanut himself posting all over these platforms, it's also his audience. But regardless, it still leads to the same result, which is that people get...
Thank you for the comment. I try not to get into politics, but good for him.
Get quickly tired of seeing you and in some cases just start to hate you. But for the Burntpeanut in this case, it's probably the fastest I've ever seen this happen because he only blew up like 4 to 5 months ago, and already both him, his audience, and even his catchphrases have been designated as cringe. Currently it's looking like the reputation of being a Burntpeanut fan is probably on the same levels as being a Has-Been Hotel fan.
I'm gooping it. This is the best part. This is the best part. Just wait. Hate for Mr. Nut is so forced because how can you hate him? He's just a silly little guy. Mr. Silly.
I can see now why people don't like it. I would get really irritated, like, if I had to see that every time.
It's even got to the point where people act like the Burntpeanut had beheaded each of their family members in front of them with how...
People who post on shorts to begin should be My friend, I post on shorts and TikTok. That's how you can get a brand nowadays, because everybody has the ADHD virus. Please note, I do not mean this seriously. As someone who has a family history of ADHD, I do not mean this in an insulting way, but what I'm trying to say is now everybody has the well, I've got a comfortable head to it.
Mad they are when it comes to talking about him.
The Burntpeanut has no choice but to rely on an AI avatar to pull viewers in. Why exactly? This is one of the most brutal and classic example of the BP. If he were to show his face on stream, he would get 0 viewers because his Phillytrum is way too short.
Even though you're not funny, you don't make your family laugh at the dinner table. I know you don't. What do you tell them? Yeah, I'm just a fucking peanut. I have a peanut mascot on, and I'll turn to the side and open my mouth. The kids love it, saying that, nigga, you are lame.
This seems to have been a thing that only recently happened because some people are confused how he went from generally loved to now widely hated. Some have blamed it on the fans on the older side of his audience, more accurately the millennials, citing the videos of them unironically repeating some of his catchphrases. But come on, millennials got completely fucked when it came to the housing market. Let them have their fun. But was it down to the fans of the Burntpeanut that he's now considered cringe? I don't necessarily think so. Yes, there are a few posts I've seen that may have contributed to it, and I don't think it's down to the behavior of the Burntpeanut himself. He's been doing the same thing he always does. He hasn't really changed enough from what I've seen to warrant this shift. I think it's just the internet being the internet and the combination of blowing up so fast and being everywhere to the point where it gets somewhat annoying to people. Or you don't hold the same value than you did previously because you're mainstream now. And it's to the point where maybe your grandma is even saying things like she's gooping it, quoting him directly. So I guess it's not as cool as when he was more of a niche streamer. But yeah, it's quickly shifted from the Burntpeanut being widely praised to now people expressing how they're tired of seeing him and his audience.
I'm a motherfucking gooner goy. I'm a dreamer goy. I love a Floyd that don't even fucking need a goy. Baby, I'm a gooner goy.
So in conclusion, the Burntpeanut currently is seeing something that affects most people that get popular rather fast. Does it mean his online career is over and he's doomed to fall off? No, this will come and pass. A lot of the clones will, I assume, die off unless we do actually see what we saw with VTubers, where they do successfully branch away from being associated with Peanut. The criticism towards his content and fans is going to be around for a while. We are seeing a pack god-like situation with this, but people will eventually move on. However, currently the Peanut is doing fine. He's just as big and he's still one of the top streamers. Yes, these problems may have tainted his reputation and brand, but I think long term he'll be fine. But yeah, That's it. If you're using Linux to watch this right now, we get it, you're a femboy. But make sure to uninstall the French language pack, it's been causing performance issues for Linux systems. But that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Royalty is here. Alright, alright. That was a pretty good watch. Alright, so... I really didn't know what to say for that last part, mainly because I was getting distracted. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Please go give a bunch of information to the, or please go give likes to both Mujin and Royalty is here for the 2 videos we have watched today. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. We are gonna raid someone and then we are going to end stream. So let's see. Who are we raiding today? Oh, let's raid this little lady. She looks like a clown. Oh, she's got a cute little avatar. Okay, here we go. Is everybody in? Get in. Get in. Everybody in? Okay, everybody's in. Alright. Thank you all for coming. I'll see you probably tomorrow if VoopChat will allow me. Or if you know what I mean. Bye, guys.